what happened to looking after, looking after middle New Zealand?
Yeah, so isn't the issue, if you just take the issue with housing, I mean, irrelevant of, where you think people are coming from, which ethnicity, whether they're coming from overseas or they're coming from Invercargill, I mean, the bottom line is, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but there's no evidence I've seen that suggests that the demographers are wrong when they say 1 million people are coming to Auckland over the next 30 to 50 years. And I just think it's going to happen because big cities grow. If you look in Australia, I mean, Sydney's getting bigger, Melbourne's getting bigger. This is an international city and it's just a magnet for economic activity and it's drawing people in. So whatever your view of where people are coming from, we can't put a big fence around it. So all we can do is fix the supply and demand issue. So there's a couple of things. One, we've got to keep interest rates low. That's why we bang on all the time about managing the economy well. And I think the budget's demonstrated we're doing that. But that's keeping interest rates low. That's helping. Second thing is we've given the Reserve Bank more tools so they don't have to whack up interest rates and can alter things. But the third thing is, in the end, the reason house prices are going up is because there's not enough supply. There's 4,000 homes being built for 13,000 demand. And so what you've got to do, I think, is support what we're doing, which is realistically get out there and say, through the councils, we just have to have those 13,000 homes built. If we do that, you will get into a first home. Because I'm with you. I think it's the Kiwi dream to own a home, and it should be real and live.
Well, I sort of accept that, but I live in East Auckland, and I'm a sales rep. And I'm driving around and I'm seeing all the different schools and I'm seeing hotels, etc. And every place I go that happens to be for sale, and I've got some people in property and da-da-da as well. Everywhere I go, I was at a motel. There's an auction on the 28th in Mount Wellington of a hotel, and even the real estate agent said everyone from China will buy it, bowl it, and put up apartments. And that every section for sale, etc., etc. Even the buildings. No, some of the buildings in Howick Pakuranga, Botany area, only have, and I sound like a complete racist, and I'm not. My wife's Norwegian, but they've only got Asian writing on it.
All right, I got the point. I'm not being rude. I just want to get through as many calls as I can. So
I mean, look, in the end, you are going to see investment coming from all sorts of different places. I mean, I hear the argument that they are investing and they're not living in the properties, and that's forcing first-home buyers out. But look, if you do that, you end up having to pay a capital gains tax, irrelevant of any changes, because the IRD look at you, and if that's the purpose of buying it, then you get caught. Secondly, you eventually got to rent them, and there's no obvious sign of being lots of rental properties. I honestly and genuinely believe it's not much more complex than this. You've had a recession, a lot of developers went broke, a lot of the finance companies went broke. That stopped the supply chain. The supply now is needed more than ever because the confidence has come back, and we just got to basically unlock that.
But a quick follow-up question. What's wrong with following the Australian example of having to get approval to buy?
Well, I don't even think they have that for... I'm not sure they do have that for domestic residents. I mean, I bought a house when I lived in Australia. I bought a house in Australia when I've lived in New Zealand.
Yes, but you're a Kiwi. But certainly, I have a friend who tried to sell to some Singaporeans and they got declined.
Yeah, so we have the same thing, though. Over a certain amount, it's subject to the Overseas Investment Office.
Which is what?
Well, I think it's 10 million from memory.
It's too high.
Yeah.
All right. Trish, morning.
Oh, hi, Mr. Key. Everyone's been asking, there's a shortage of housing in Auckland. On the other hand, other main centres such as Dunedin have great infrastructure and much more affordable housing.
Yes.
Why doesn't the government incentivise businesses to set up business in these other main centres and therefore pull more people and spread the population out more?
Yeah, so there's a very logical response, and to a certain degree, we are trying to do that. Short of physically, paying them to go there, we are trying to encourage people. And I got myself in trouble with a few comments in Wellington a while ago, but the point I was really making was exactly that. We can't just have growth in Auckland and no growth around the rest of the country. But you are seeing a lot of growth in places like Hamilton, Tauranga, Christchurch, particularly even Wellington in certain parts. So basically, what we can do is build out a lot of infrastructure that encourages people to go there, ultra-fast broadband, all of those public transport type things. The second thing is the labour force is generally a bit cheaper there because the cost of living is cheaper. So I do see lots of businesses being established in other parts of the country other than Auckland. And we're continuing to look at what we could do. So, yep, you could theoretically pay them. It's just that happens a bit in Australia. It doesn't seem to work terribly well over the long term. It's a bit of a false economy, but certainly we've just got to keep encouraging people to go around the country, accept that.
Thank you, Trish. Where are the jobs, writes Andrew. Australia's just lost 1,200 jobs. Well, that's not many for Australia, but anyway. And many more jobs are disappearing. They are moving manufacturing to East Asia, where low wages are killing New Zealand dreams. So what are you doing to create new jobs?
Well, actually, I think the economy is growing. So we created 50,000 jobs over the last couple of years. We've got the 11th lowest unemployment rate in the world at 6.2%. And actually, you're starting to see labour shortages in certain sectors and in certain professions. So I think the challenge for us is we are not going to be able to compete with people that are paid very, very low wages, nor do we want to do that. What we have to do is move the economy into a smarter space, and that's absolutely happening. So I, again, go around a lot of manufacturing businesses that are doing very well, but they're investing in lean manufacturing, which is a sort of time and motion study on steroids run by NZTE. They're investing heavily in science and innovation. And if you think about what the government has spent money on the last 5 years, it's been new. It's been health, education, or science and innovation. And you are starting to see emerging this very robust economy. So we grew at 3% last year. The BNZ is saying we're going to grow at a faster rate than Australia for the next couple of years. I think a lot of the economic story that we have been peddling is working.